Welcome back. Season 2, Episode 6 of the Sonoma State Dynasty here on Rabbit Hole Sports and Media. In this episode, we will take on Syracuse, but I wanted to go over a couple of quick things regarding the USC episode. First off, being that not all the episodes versus super good teams or very good teams. USC wasn't a national championship caliber team in my mind, but still a team that embodied a lot of the things that you'll see in terms of differences between a Super 2 and a Power 4 team. So, not typically going to be as long, but I wanted to highlight some points a little more in the first episode of that type. Next, being at the beginning, when I was talking about national champions, I did make a little note eventually, but I don't know if everyone would have caught it. Those were the Power 4 teams that had won a national championship since 1950. Pre-1950, a lot of the service academies were great. The Ivy League schools were really good in the early 1900s. So that was since 1950. With the game specifically versus USC, if you told me just the final score before we started, would have been super enthused. Looking at how the game played out, not as enthused. So what happened? Our game plan, it almost worked a little too well. So again, if I didn't make this point well, the ball is snapped, obviously, on every play. So the more guys you put around the ball, typically the more aggressive you're trying to be, where the more backed off you are, the less aggressive you're trying to be. So we were trying to create a lot of levels to be able to cover their speed, but get a good amount of guys down on the line of scrimmage to stack up their run game. And our game plan worked really well, almost too well. Really need to refine the details for all scenarios, because what happened is I really didn't expect us to get up big like we did, and it kind of caught me off guard because I thought our game plan would keep us in the game, and the idea was to be able to open it up later in the game, throw it more, be more aggressive, bring more blitzes. But since we were up, I didn't want to play that way, and I kind of got stuck on where to go. So if I could do it again on offense, I would have stuck more with how we were operating actually at the beginning of the game, mixing in those spread and power formations. I went a little more towards our base offense as we got later in the game. Wish I would have stuck with how we started and just kept rolling that way. Where on defense, I wish I went to two more pass rush like edge defenders on defense, because we had such good speed on the edge, and they didn't really start slinging the ball around the field in terms of dropping back and throwing it deep. They really did just kind of dink and dunk their way back into the game. And so I wish we did have a little more pass rush presence on the field, but I wouldn't have wanted to completely sacrifice the guys we had on the interior of the defensive line. But on the edges, I wish I would have gone with a little more of a pass rush friendly defense. In regards to the gameplay sliders, no major tweaks. Injuries I'm going to do from 52 to 55. It's kind of hard because I do a lot of formation subs. So in each of the formations we have in our defense, I have very specific groupings I want, and you can't preload all those groupings, I guess is the way to put it. So I have to do it in game. And the more you up the injury slider, the more it seems to just knock guys out for shorter periods during the game rather than give you some more long-term injuries, which I would honestly prefer is kind of less total injuries during the game, but when they happen, they more often have some more severity to them, so it's not as big of a deal to that. So I wish they separated that slider out, the injury and injury severity. But anyway, interceptions is going from 50 to 52. After the Syracuse game, I think it'll go to 53. I don't know, the tough thing is that some of the inaccuracies on throws are on plays that are very in rhythm and very simple. So it's almost like you kind of need them to drop some throws to kind of balance that out. But at the same time, I don't want it to be egregious, and it's bordering on that. So we're going to up it a little bit. The tackle sliders going just up 157 to 58. There are definitely some weird animations in the run game. That could be due to Teron Barnes' play action rating, which is a 99. He also has platinum sleight of hand, which is in ability. So in the game, players get certain abilities that kind of magnify their better traits, I guess you would say. So I don't know how much each of those is playing into it. The Barnes play action rating highlights a thing I couldn't really get to in the deep dive, which is each position has little traits that don't overwhelm the players overall that I add to each offseason. If it does edit their overall, I take away something from their best trait to level it back out. And that's just to simulate a little more specific player development. And that's something I've seen a lot of people complain about with this game is the players upgrade automatically. You have no say in what certain things they develop in or, where they get better. And so it's to kind of balance that out. So, like, for receivers, impact blocking and run blocking, I get to, like, the higher end of more possession-ish tight ends because that's kind of to simulate culture, right? You need unselfish guys, you need receivers that are willing to block. And so little things like that to essentially simulate little aspects. So I am trying to find the line between, incorporating those things, but not overwhelming the gameplay with said aspects. So with Barnes, again, he is a great scrambler. I know that's another thing that a lot of people complain about people taking advantage of. And listen, to a degree, I get that, cheesy is like the video game word, right? It's cheese because, anyone can kind of do it and it feels like you're not actually good at the game. And that's certainly true, but at the same time, that is because defenses aren't built to stop running quarterbacks because that's not their primary purpose. And in real life, that's why a running quarterback is so intriguing. Now, I think we've found out in real football and through looking at things in real life, especially in the NFL, that passing is definitely the trait that is going to typically make the most difference. But when you can incorporate the run game as well, it's just such a huge dynamic element. So with that being said, it is kind of cheesy, and that was kind of the point, to have a quarterback that can maybe prop us up a little more in these couple of building years. So that leads me to another point. There is a transfer portal in the game, right? But I don't think Teron Barnes is going to enter it. There is a stage of the offseason where essentially you cut players, but it's called encouraging transfers. In my experience with it, they do typically end up on other teams if they're good enough. So I think we'll do that with Teron Barnes if he doesn't have a huge overall upgrade during the season where he goes to the NFL. And then we'll move on and look to develop a more pocket passing friendly offense, because I do want to focus on the football specific things, and that was a big point of making that USC episode longer. So getting into more Dynasty relevant things, or at least big picture things. Top 25: Georgia number 1, Ohio State 2, Oklahoma 3, Oregon 4, USC 5, Syracuse 6, Rutgers 7, Penn State 8, Tulane 9, and Miami comes in at number 10. So we got 3 top 10 Power 4 teams in Syracuse, Rutgers, and Tulane. We got 2 ranked group teams in North Texas at 19 and Miami, Ohio at 21. And in the Pac-12, BYU at 22 and UC Santa Barbara at 25. Moving right along into the games of the week. We got a battle between Scooter Page and Javion Foreman, 16 K-State and 22 BYU. Number 3 Oklahoma takes on Texas in the Red River rivalry. Number 1 Georgia goes to number 18 Arkansas, a showdown in Fayetteville. Number 10 Miami goes to Death Valley to take on number 12 Clemson. And then we got Wisconsin and Nebraska for the Freedom Trophy. So in recruiting, we fall to second on Antoine Cobb. He visits next week. We got locked out by 4-star cornerback Rasheem Kublia from Oxnard, California. We add 3-star Corbin Potts from Gardena to replace him. Another quick note, if we get the rest of our guys, we'll reach our limit of 6 that we've set. I may change to 4 after seeing the impact of this freshman class, but we will see. We'll play that by ear. We also got locked out by 3-star edge rusher Ethan Costanzo from Harbor City, California. We replace him on the board with 3-star Taylor Wozniak from Clovis, So this week, we take on Syracuse, number 6 in the country. Number 6 team in the country once again. USC was number 6 last week. They are 6-0, 82 overall, 84 offense, 82 defense with a pro-style offense and a 3-3-5 defensive scheme. On offense, they have quarterback, the freshman, Jakari Williams, number 4, very mobile, very accurate on the run and under pressure. Bit of a mid-range maestro, a very solid 81 overall. At running back, a major threat in 87 overall, number 1, LaQuint Allen. No super elite traits, but very, very well-rounded. All things in the high 80s and low to lower mid-90s, around 93. At wide receiver, good combination of skill sets. Number 2, Trebor Pena, 88 overall, very solid prototype of a receiver. While Justice Ross Simmons, number 12, he's an 80 overall. And then number 8, Zeed Haynes, 79, 99 speed, 97 acceleration. And at tight end, they have former Michigan backup quarterback, number 84, Dan Villari. Very solid underneath, the kind that has killed us. Last week with Lake McCree, who is more of a vertical threat for USC, we actually did a pretty good job, only allowing a couple of catches, one of them being a touchdown, but a big improvement from what we had been doing against tight ends. Offensive line, number 68, the center, Alex Silvestro. If everything goes according to plan, it is going to be a very tough day in the film room for him on Monday. Other than that, very similar to USC, lower 80s overall guys for the most part with a pass block leaning skill set. Plan. We want to stick with our 2 high safety looks. We want to keep 5 guys on the line of scrimmage for the most part because I think we can really slow down the run game by presenting our front that way, and we can keep our safeties high to prevent speed, especially from Zeed Haynes, number 8, from killing us over the top. And I also use San Jose State for demos now because I put Sonoma State in for San Jose State because you have to replace a team. You cannot just add them in, and due to some things that you cannot change and that are tied to the team you replace, like the players interested in your team in recruiting, I had to replace San Jose. I did not want to, but I had to, so I felt like I could give them a little tip of the cap that way. But on defense, defensive line, the biggest threat is really going to be their slanting. The 3-3-5, a lot of slanting and movement on the D-line, not trying to go for as much physicality, a lot of 3-down lineman looks, more spread out looks. So the biggest threat is going to be their slanting more than their personnel on the D-line. So the D-line lining up in one gap, and then when the ball is snapped, moving into another one. We do it ourselves, but with some more beefed up defensive linemen, we'll say. We love our big fellas here at Sonoma State. At linebacker, left outside linebacker, number 12, Anwar Sparrow. Great pursuit, can go after guys, we can go after him aggressively in man coverage. Middle linebacker, Derek McDonald. Very classic field general. We can get after him if we get him blocked. Not great block shedding. Right outside linebacker, Ken Brown. We can go after him a lot and in a lot of ways. At corner, on the top end, pretty solid athletes. We have some favorable man matchups. Go after AJ Lincoln. Number 38 at free safety. Number 0, Deuce Chestnut. Very solid athlete and coverage ratings, 85 overall. And free safety, number 21, Jaden Gold, an 81 overall. A solid tackler, not as great in coverage. And number 26, Brahim Long, just a 73 overall, but 94 speed and 95 acceleration. Not overwhelming coverage ratings. And then strong safety, number 19, Cornell Perry, we may see as well. The 3-3-5, I feel like sometimes you see the 2 free safeties, sometimes the 2 strong safeties. It depends. Their sub-personnel on the strong edge, King Joseph Edwards, not great overall, but his speed and finesse moves could be an issue versus Suachu. Their rush D tackle, 79 as a rusher, but real solid finesse and power moves. Whoops, almost dropped my notebook. All right, free safety Jaden Gold, he's going to go into the slot in sub-personnel as well. So they not do a third corner, they will do another safety. So we will for sure be seeing 4 safeties in this game in some fashion. Game plan. We're going to go with a strong left because, again, we want to go after their right outside linebacker, which is going to be on our left side. Especially on first and second down, we're going to go strong right on third down because, again, their other linebacker is the one we want to go after more in the passing game. So Caden Brown and Brahim Long. Let's go after the slot as well on third down. CJ Peaks should have a very good matchup against Jaden Gold, and we should be able to run with our base personnel pretty well, but again, the slanting of the 3-3-5 can get kind of weird. But here we go. Back at it after a heartbreaker versus the Trojans, but another opportunity for a top 10 win here today. And I will say this is a top 10 team that probably isn't, if you're to go by pure roster talent, probably isn't truly the 6th best team in the country. Looking at their overalls, it's definitely not an overwhelming matchup for us. So let's go in poised, together, connected, and confident. There we go. That guy's a fan of everyone. And the Orange getting ready to run out, led by number 21, Jaden Gold. Here come the Orange, the Carrier Dome, rocking for college football, and a Syracuse team that has been exceptional in this dynasty. I believe 14 or 16-2 overall. They are off to a fantastic start in the cursed ACC. We'll see if they can overcome that for a playoff berth, but the ball is in the hands of number 8. We are underway. Tanner Milam, Josh LeBourne, Jordan Underwood, all getting a piece. And there is Jakari Williams, the 6'2" freshman, leading out the Orange, and we get our second taste of a pro-style offense running the no-huddle. So, I don't know, maybe that's not as rare as I thought it was. Maybe I should start playing some dynasties outside of this to figure out what's going on. But anyway, I kind of like learning as I go a little bit as well. And we get the ball right off DJ Dean's head to set up our first third down of the game. And if Williams can hold on a little longer, I think he could have tested us vertically right there, as I switched on to Dakota Mills late and did not get him over to the right side. But it is a punt to start the day for Q's, and it is inside the 5. Great work on special teams. That'll bring out Barnes and company, and SSU will get their first look on offense. There you see only the 3 guys on the line, but it just gets a little gimmicky. Tackle for a loss. So here we're going to roll out of the pocket on the throw, hit Javon Moore on the sideline, and it is a first down to get us out of the shadow of our own end zone. First quarter, play clock winding down, communication issues at the forefront again. Quick pressure underneath to Tyson, good check down, and number 7 gets his first impact play of the game, this time through the air. He's been so great on the ground last game, really held in check by USC. Just 12 carries for 25 yards, and here I'm telling you, I confused the buttons. I forgot it's RB, not LB, so I hit the button on the left side of the controller, not the right side of the controller, and we take a vicious sack instead of dumping it off for an easy completion. So 2nd and 23, again, able to keep it on the ground a little more with those wide splits. And 3rd and 12 still isn't great, but it is better than 3rd and 23, and really should have gone to the left where we had CJ Peaks break wide open on an out. It's also the side the safety did not go to, so poor quarterbacking by myself there. And on the return, breaking it off, I believe that is Zeed Haynes. I believe that's his first name. Zeed? I'm not trying to make fun. I just genuinely think I'm forgetting what it is. Here we go. SSU chomping at the bit on defense, and the spot drop and lock comes in to work right there as Garland picks up Allen, LaQuint Allen, in the backfield, or in the flat, I guess. They may have gained a yard. I don't remember exactly. And on 3rd and 7, a throwaway forced, and this defense continuing its much improved effort this season. And here we're going to see our left tackle, Kalen Franklin, just get worked. I said they were a little more of a finesse defense. Well, they said take that. Shoving the 6'7", 320-pound Franklin right out of the way. And we hit Spencer Strickland on the out route. for a first down. No huddle, right to the line here for SSU. Going to move Strickland into the backfield now. Used this play off the no huddle for a nice touchdown versus Hawaii. Not going to get quite the same result here, but a nice chunk run to take it into Syracuse territory for the first time today. And here a great example of why we need to really make throws right out of breaks. As you can see, he's already running flat on the out right there by the time we throw it, and we just don't have enough room to the sideline to let him run to it, and the defender is able to come get it. Wasn't a great throw still, but it highlights the point. Barnes flushed on a 3rd and 10, just barely gonna get it away. And I wanted to show this because the game is genuinely recommending that I kick a 61-yard field goal. York has 99 kick power. Still wouldn't be high on my priority list to do this. And we actually end up with probably one of the best long-range kicks in terms of how it turned out on the controls. But the range, not there. York is short. And it's one of those things where it's like the defense is playing well, so why would you give them good field position? But at the same time, if they're ever going to have good field position, I'd rather have it be at a time when our defense is playing pretty well. Dan Villari, the tight end, gets to work. One of the big problems there, and why tight ends are an issue, is a lot of times with those possession guys who kill us, is they're running underneath, and as much as we do that spot drop and lock to pick up those quick throws, it's typically only to one side. So if they are able to get it to the other side, there's typically a guy open. So in some regard, we are willing to give those throws up, but at the same time, our best adjustment would be to put our strong safety typically in man coverage on him, which would be Kai Riggins. Man coverage is not his strength, so we have to get a little creative with tight ends sometimes. Here we go. Villari again, 1st and goal, now 2nd and goal for Syracuse. Williams, Pena, touchdown, Orange, makes it look easy, right underneath a hole in the match coverage from SSU. And not to get into a whole thing, but I thought the point of match, to some degree, was when they do this switch release out of bunch, is you match how they release. So, if I'm wrong, someone let me know in the comments. So I don't know if Josh LeBourne misplayed the coverage, or I have a misunderstanding of that aspect of the coverage. Because if you're not doing that, how is it any different than a cover one, other than the fact that you're going to pass off pre-snap motions? You get what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, overthinking it. We are on the move on our next drive as the first quarter winds down. Barnes off the play action gets pressure right away. He finds C.J. Peets, who gets uplifted out of bounds, and that is number 17, Caden Brown, with the play right there. Barnes. That time it is more. I changed up their gear a little bit so I can tell them apart a little more often. I don't like mixing the guys up because everyone on this team is important. This isn't a everyone plays situation, but if you've got a skill set that we can utilize to make us better, we're going to find a way to get you on the field if we can do that. So, anyway, need to tell the guys apart to emphasize that. More in motion, screen to Strickland on 3rd and 7. Weeks and Williams get out and make blocks, and Strickland is into the red zone. The Seawolves marching on their 3rd drive of the game. Off play action, Barnes looking for Gregory, who for some reason turns back for the ball. I don't know why they programmed that into the flat route to work like that. I guess it's better than them running out of bounds, but that was a little premature. Strickland, corner, cannot get it. Still need the straight line speed. Nolan Knight probably would have made that, but Spencer Strickland, such a unique skill set as a runner and thrower. And Barnes, walk-in 6. TB5, the Seawolves answer right back on his head. Nomination answers the number 6 team in the country. Early in this second quarter, you see the fellas fired up. Maverick Bentley, Suachu, celebrating the score. This is a great group, I'm telling you. They love playing together. They are connected, and they play hard. Play action. Williams finds his man again. That is Dan Villari. Here we go. Williams from the pocket. Underneath. Complete once again. Syracuse marching. So Quint Allen gets on the move for a 2nd and 3 Here we get some guys to him, miss some tackles, and back into the red zone for Syracuse, as they were really marching. I barely even had to edit anything on this drive, as they really just went no huddle on us. Valari gets open again. Dakota Mills chasing him down to save it from a touchdown. Changing out of the bunch. Looking here, knocked away. That is Marquez Carty. And here, I switched on. I don't know why I had such a late start, but could not get the interception animation to trigger. Pena's in the end zone once again. A deuce for him in this first half, matching the jersey number, and the Orange back in front on their home turf. Barnes and company on the field. 2 tight ends, 2 receivers. Tyson, the running back. Pulling lineman is Suachu, and a solid gain for number 7, Keontae Tyson, to set up a 2nd down and 3 just outside of 5 minutes in the first half. Spencer Strickland, very impactful, but gets banged up on the play right there. Barnes underneath to Nolan Knight, the freshman. Always good to see him make an appearance on the field. Love getting a good rotation of backs. It can be hard to do on this game sometimes, but the power game getting to work right there. Tyson with the first down, and it was a struggle a little bit to run between the tackles early in this game, but as the second quarter and then second half open up, we were able to do it a little more. Javon Moore with the catch, takes a big hit, throwing from under center, getting it to number 89, the number 2 tight end, Maverick Bentley. 4 receivers, Knight on the carry. Nice footwork. 7 yards on the brink of the red zone, and a little more no huddle, and a little more of number 4, Nolan Knight, as he's going to take it down just outside the 10. And here we get Tyson wide open. Just do not pick up the blitzer. I don't know what I'm looking at. And we miss an opportunity for an easy touchdown, settling for a Matthew York field goal. 14-10 in this first half. Syracuse looking to get a score before the break. We will get the ball first in the second half. Noah Collins with the tackle, pushing him out of bounds just outside of a minute here in this first half. 3rd and 4. Williams underneath, coming up, making the hit. Jaquez Blanks. He shoots all over the field. Shooting would be not a great nickname for him because of his last name, so we won't call him that, but he is athletic. Can't quite make number 6 miss. Would have been a big play. 2nd down and 7. So we're going to take a bit of a shot downfield for Scott McLawler, and getting over to break it up is the safety, and that is going to set up a 3rd down with just 15 seconds left. Strickland to the outside. Cheese, please. 1st down and more, and that makes it a little more interesting and makes it, a little more easy to be aggressive. CJ Peaks, not close enough for another super long field goal. Didn't want to do that to Matthew York. It's one of those things. He's a competitor. He loves the challenge. Then he probably loves that I sent him out there to kick a 61-yarder. If he's someone who kind of, is a little gun shy, he's probably pretty pissed at me. So important to know your players as a coach, right? What situations are you putting them in to be successful? DeMarvin Holland taking the kick back to open the second half. Missed block there from Jackson Gregory. Could have been a big play. And here we're going to see that power game take off a little more. Tyson cutting behind the block for a 1st down. And the Seawolves looking to move it. Down 4 as we open this second half. Move over Scott McLawler. Ground game again. Don't know what the safety was doing. Over pursuit. And Tyson is into Syracuse territory, averaging 7.5 yards a pop on the ground. And Barnes hits Peaks. That breakaway speed, a real issue, but man, does he know how to get open. Sonoma State on the march, 28-yard line. Nolan Knight maybe should have stood upfield or stuck it upfield for another step and then cut, and might have had a real big touchdown. But play action, and Tanner Milam gonna get involved, and that corner out from Strickland set him up very well to make a block right there. And we get it down to the 2. Barnes on the ground, cuts, touchdown. TB5 for the 2nd time today is in the end zone. He's hitting the dance, and the Seawolves are taking the lead here in Syracuse, New York. Peaks, Gregory, Bentley coming over to celebrate, and you see the elation upon Noma Nation here in the Carrier Dome. Defense, first opportunity in this second half here. The no huddle, relentless from Syracuse, right back to work, checking and changing, pinching the line down, and shooting through the gap. Jaquez blanks, number 29, and the no huddle still going on a 3rd and 11. 3 to the right, including the tight end. It is a draw. We miss on the initial play, but Kai Riggins cleans it up, and it is a punt. Very conservative on the 3rd down there from Syracuse. Aggressive with the no huddle, conservative with the play call. Cheese, please. DeMarvin Holland, not quite that breakaway speed, but a little fancy footwork on the return there. Sonoma State back at work. The fullback, Gregory, on the sweep. The fullback, not typically the guy you want running it to the outside, but when they give you a juicy look like that, sometimes you just got to do it. Had to let it go a little early here on the throw to CJ Peaks with the pressure getting through. Couldn't really let him run the full comeback route, and it gets knocked out. Shows how a lot of blitzing and bringing pressure and stunting is more about messing up timing and getting the offense to have to react and do things before they want to. Almost more, what I'm saying is if you're going to blitz, it's about getting pressure to the quarterback so that the throw they want to get open doesn't have the time to get open. It's not because you always believe your guys are going to be in good positions in one-on-one. So that's why a big aspect of our defense is simulated pressures, but also setting ourselves up so when we do bring blitzes, they are actually getting home effectively. Here we go. Defense back at work, trying to work out of the shadow of their end zone. The Orange, I guess they already have, they're at the 20, but great special teams work earlier. I didn't get the chance to touch on it. Screen on 2nd and 8, LaQuint Allen to the outside, nearly to the 40-yard line, and a Syracuse 1st down. Allen in motion. Williams pumps. Looking. Throwing. Breaking it up. Number 20, Jaden Bowie. Undercutting. Both guys right there. And a plethora of gentlemen in the area there for SSU to bring up a 3rd and 12. Deep shot. Dakota Mills. Lockdown on the return with a block from Bowie. Mills out of bounds at the 45-yard line. And number 32 with the takeaway. And this Sonoma State defense, all about unity, all about commitment, all about playing for each other. They've done a great job of that this season. And Tyson back to work. 11 carries, 88 yards. Good to see the ground game getting back to being dominant. Underneath, Spencer Strickland on the check down on the option route, settling right between the two defenders. Very good execution. From the slot back, number 12. Here we go. 2nd and 4, 20-yard line. A minute to go in this 3rd quarter. Barnes out of the pocket. Going to step up and through the line here and slide down. I believe Gregory did end up open. But the Orange, he's still feeling good as the Seawolves are on the move to open this 4th quarter. And look how juicy that side looks. And we're going to get it out. There's not even a person Jackson Gregory needs to block. Tyson can walk it in, and the Seawolves can go up 2 scores. Did. What are we talking about? 7 in the end zone. 30's fired up, and the SSU faithful feeling good in this 4th quarter. But as we learned from last week, and as I have learned growing up a San Diego Chargers fan, this game is very much not over. Williams to work. Play action. Volari. 1st down. Collins with the hit. On the screen game. That is Dakota Mills again. It might have been Terrell Pace, but I think it was Dakota Mills. And the BVC pipe fighting over and through blocks to take down LaQuint Allen on the screen. And this offense with a touchdown can go up 3 possessions. Don't know what the celebration was for between Scotty Mack and Tariq Williams as Miguel Weeks moves for a false start. So a 3rd down and 9 right here. And this really should have been intercepted. Would have been a game-changing play for sure. Had the drag route wide open. I don't know why my goofy self is always like, oh, they're going to follow the drag. They're not going to follow the drag. He's sitting right there. Don't throw it to him. Syracuse back at work. 2nd and 10. 3rd and inches. They need a score. Williams to the outside. Nico Solomon with the tackle, but it is a Syracuse first down. Allen on the ground. Blanks. I told you. He is shooting through. Pace helps clean up. 2nd and 13. Quick pressure from Pace. You see it right there. Beautiful. Left tackle, not quick enough to react to the speed of the defensive back. Deep shot, and our elite zone coverage corner, Noah Collins all over it. 4th and 13, vital for the number 6 team in the country. Williams to Haynes. Riggins a bad angle, down the sideline. Blanks can't get him. Syracuse right back in it in the blink of an eye. The train horn goes off, and the Orange, just like that. That is how speed can change the game. And look, runs right into Kobe Garland. So excited we cannot talk. Pushes him off and gets separation. Tremendous route running from Zeed Haynes right there. Real mismatch. Real misalignment in my coverage. If you didn't notice, we ended up having a double team on 2 guys in the opposite flat, which makes absolutely no sense. So, shows that based on formation, I kind of need to refine which guys we are locking onto. Nonetheless, back at work. RPO, Javon Moore, outside. A touchdown would give us a 2-score lead again. A field goal, at least, would force Syracuse to have to score a touchdown. If/when they get the ball back. The other option is to just take up the rest of the clock. But they don't want that to happen. Look at that. The slanting, it's not even the slanting, I don't know. Something about the 3-3-5 just causes stuff like that to happen. And they blow up the play. 3rd and 17, and I don't know why this is the situation we decide we want to get aggressive in. Barnes flushed out, probably could have stepped up and through, and the clock will stop as the pressure gets there, and we got rid of it just in time. York with the boot. Haynes with the fair catch down by the 11-yard line. There was no signal, but we won't talk about that. Williams with time, steps back. Riggins, pressure. Townsend cleans up a safety, and Sonoma State has a 5-point lead and is getting the ball back with 3 minutes to go. What is going on in the Carrier Dome? They cannot believe it. Riggins blitzing from the edge there, got blocked by the back. You'll see it right here. Williams, really a coverage sack right here, holds on to the ball too long. Riggins ends up getting a win eventually, gets the initial hit, and Joshua Townsend, number 88, he cleans it up, and Sonoma with a chance to put this game away. And the always dependable end-of-game injury to stop the clock before it would cost them a timeout popped out on the play before that. Always dependable. Tyson, big 3rd down. Power run game, the bread and butter, serving us well as we try to close it out. On the other side of the 2-minute timeout, false start, making it hard. Tyson with the movement. I believe someone else may have moved as well. And here, I make it hard. Delay of game, don't snap the ball in time. Unbelievable. Fundamental football, gentlemen. Here we go. 1st and 20. Strickland. He's been a little more quiet in the second half, but gashes the Syracuse defense there. A big run to get us back in a somewhat favorable 2nd down. 2nd and 8. Can keep it on the ground. Strickland again. 3rd down and a yard. Came out and was going to run a sweep to the right side here. This is the same formation we ran for a touchdown earlier. Don't want to run a sweep against that, so blasted it up the middle, and we ice the game. Noma, upset over number 6. Revenge from last week. Vengeance? I don't know. Avenge a blow-in lead a week ago, a blow-in upset opportunity a week ago, and while maybe not quite the same high-end talent roster, a big win for this program to change our trajectory. Barnes gets player of the game. I would give it to Keontae Tyson. Nothing against TB5. He knows I love him. But what a game from Keontae Tyson or Spencer Strickland. Both had over 100 yards of offense in this one today, but the 2 touchdowns gets it for Teron Barnes. This game very, very heavily favors the touchdowns. But we see the final stats there. 462 yards of offense. Really leaned on the run game in the second half. 42 total attempts at 6 yards a pop. Want to do that against the 3-3-5, especially with our two good tight ends. My goodness. Our fullback, Jackson Gregory, gives us the ability where we feel like we can dominate in the run game against a 3-3-5 defense. Again, got a little weird with the slanting, but we did a very nice job, especially when we were able to throw the ball pretty well in that second quarter. We were really able to set ourselves up nicely to run the ball late in the second quarter and going into the second half. Barnes, solid game, nothing overly flashy, but Tyson, 17 carries, 122 yards. Strickland, 9 for 75, adds 3 catches for 40. So 12 total touches for 115 yards. But we see it right there. Townsend and Riggins sharing the big sack on the safety to ice this game. And last but not least, before we go today, it is Javion Foreman and BYU besting Scooter Page and K-State 28-23. Oklahoma wins Red River and keeps rolling in this season of the Dynasty, 35-21. Georgia, 28-23 over Arkansas. Clemson, a very solid and convincing victory over Miami, 38-20. UCLA upsets Oregon, who is number 4, 42-40. And Nebraska, dominant over Wisconsin, 40-13. So what an episode today. Most electric win in program history up to this point. Momentum rolling, and in next episode, we will get a chance against a team that I think is truly the most talented one we will play this year. Also, our rivals, the UCSB Gauchos. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and I will talk to you, see you, whatever you want to say, then.